thing. We're live. Woohoo! Hello, folks.
We're live.
Welcome to the tavern. Dennis jumped into a time machine. Fast forward 100 years. That's what he looks like. That's my brother Mike.
Hello.
He's filling in. Dennis is on vacation. He's visiting his mother. Let's stand up to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you very much, folks. Hope you stood up, did that. So we're going to go over a little bit of the Bill of Rights because I feel, the Second Amendment, the Second Amendment is always in the news. But there's other bills of rights that they're taking from us. And it's unfortunate. Benjamin Franklin started out working for his brother's newspaper as an apprentice. They didn't get along. And he was only 16 or 17 years old. And he wrote this in 1722 under the guise of Silence Do Good. This is number 8, talking about free speech. This sacred privilege is so essential to free governments that the security of property and the freedom of speech always go together. And in those wretched countries where a man cannot call his tongue his own, he can scarce call anything else his own. Whoever would overthrow the liberty of a nation must begin by subduing the freeness of speech, a thing terrible to public traitors. This is happening today to me. And if you want a perfect example of it, my son got put in Facebook jail for a joke.
Yeah.
It was a joke about Biden's top secret papers that they found and his son.
So what facts are that? It's a joke.
Right.
It's not supposed to have facts.
27 days he was squashed of his freedom of speech on Facebook. He couldn't do this live. We always use his phone for it and stuff. So if you don't think that your freedom of speech is being canceled today, Twitter will cancel you, Facebook will cancel you, YouTube will cancel you, AT&T will cancel you. They got rid of Newsmax and OAN. They will cancel what you're doing. Certain comedians. There's a funny thing. Roseanne Barr's doing a stand-up. I didn't see it in the first questions. Has any of you people been fired out there? She got fired for saying something. You're not allowed to say what you want to say anymore. It used to be that you couldn't do it. Freedom of speech was you weren't allowed to harm somebody. Like, the old example since you were in school was you can't stand in the middle of a movie theater and scream fire.
Right.
You're going to put somebody in danger. You're not allowed to do that. But to speak about your government, that was one of the major freedoms. You were allowed to act against your government every couple of years through the ballot box, but you're allowed to talk. Well, you used to be allowed to talk about your government every day. All of those doctors that said that, what Dr. Fauci was saying was wrong, canceled, not allowed to talk. Not allowed
Even
to
if you were right.
Right. So, to get back into it, all right, so your First Amendment, Amendment number 1, which, by the way, the Bill of Rights was passed in 1789 and ratified in 1791. So basically what happened was we had the Constitution Convention. They came off. The Constitution was ratified through the states. You had to have a sitting Congress in order to do it by the law of the land, which was a constitution, and you had to get 3/4 and ratify everything. So they had to have the sitting government. So the government was sitting first, and then they did the Bill of Rights. So Amendment 1 was Congress shall make no law representing the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievance. So basically what today's saying is if you have a grievance for a redress of grievance, you better shut up.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to hear it.
And
You're not allowed to say that.
And you don't have a right to plead your case.
No.
There is no one you could get in touch with to say, well, here's the facts. I wasn't telling a lie. I wasn't making it up. It's right here. Try to get in touch with somebody on Facebook about that.
You want to,
or any of them.
here's something in real person, in real life. You don't think your freedom of press, your freedom of speech is prohibited? Talk to that kid that was in Washington, D.C. that wore a MAGA hat.
Yeah.
Had the Indians stand in front of him.
Yep.
The press destroyed that kid so bad that he sued them and won.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Because he wore a MAGA hat. Did the kid even understand what that hat was standing for? Was he that involved in politics that he even understood all the way 100%? Yeah, maybe he knew that he liked that president. He was doing good for his dad and mom going out to work and they were making a good living and stuff. But did he understand?
He did.
But he was 16 years old.
I mean, even if he knew everything about that, he has a right to his opinion. See, that's what they're trying to stop. They're trying to stop your right to an opinion. It's theirs or none.
This one I'm going to be a little sorry I'm going to mention, but I have to because Mike's in the driver's seat here this week.
Oh, what?
Establishment of religion. All right, freedom of religion. You think you have freedom of religion? They took it out of the courts. They took it out of the schools. They took it out during COVID. There was a man, I think he was in Minnesota or Michigan, wore a Jesus Christ shirt, and security asked him to leave the mall.
Yeah, the mall.
He wasn't allowed to wear a shirt that said Jesus Christ. You got to leave.
Only Christians, though. If you have something for like a Muslim woman, they have those hats and stuff. They're allowed.
Well, here's the problem. Like, you're not allowed to have anything that has to do with your Jewish religion or your Christianity. But if you're a Muslim, you're allowed to wear a gopper for your driver's license. You're allowed to wear your headpiece. So there's a double standard right now. But regardless of where you stand on, your freedoms of religion, that's why we need faith back into our government. Because if you lose your faith, without faith, without knowing, you know what, there's a good chance that I'm going to go try and do this. If you don't have faith that you're going to be able to do this of goodness, then you're not going to do it. You're going to sit there like a mouse and just stay back. I can't do that. So anyway, so it's not just the Second Amendment. So your First Amendment, you can't talk freely on any of the social networks. You try and look something up on Google, all of the left's topics come up first. You can't wear a MAGA hat. You can't. I mean, how many people from Trump's administration tried to go to a restaurant? Mm-hmm. It also says in the Constitution that you're allowed to speak freely in government, and you're not allowed to be harassed to and from the House. You're not allowed to be arrested for what you said in those chambers. Well, these people were persecuted, weren't allowed to sit down and have dinner with their family. This is going on today, folks. This is our time.
Yeah.
This is not history. This is now. This is happening now.
Jack, there were people coming from different countries that are coming here. They came here because of that right. That they were amazed that you were allowed to say something that didn't agree with your government. That was a right they couldn't understand because if they did it in their country, they'd be arrested.
Yeah, well.
Now
you had that basketball player, his last name, he changed it to Freedom. He came from Turkey, and he had said something about LeBron James breaking the record of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And somebody had said, well, he shouldn't have said that. It's sports. Well, you know what? LeBron James favors China, communist China. And if you don't think that there's slavery going on in China, in the Congo, that's where they're mining all of the earthworks and minerals to make our batteries for our electric vehicles are being mined and processed by slaves. But this is what LeBron James believes in over our own country. Yeah. They had a general manager in basketball got fired because he stood up for the people of Hong Kong that were protesting the Chinese communist government. And he was afraid he was never going to get a job in that industry again because a person like LeBron James that runs it said, hey, you're ignorant. He's ignorant. This guy's ignorant because he's siding with people that are protesting against tyranny. So
whatever happened to what do they call that? When you're bad to the people, what do they call that? Like the country is
consequences.
I mean, you're telling us, as far as it is, if China pays, they could get away with anything. If any country pays, they could get away with anything. We won't bring up these youths working 12 hours or more. Some of them are dying.
I'm sure they are. I mean, we don't know. It's an iron curtain.
But because
an iron curtain again is up. You don't know what's going on in China.
But because you're making money off of these people, can't say anything.
So your Second Amendment is written exactly this. This is word for word. A well-regulated militia being necessary to secure of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Period. The end. It's 2 sentences. Bing, bing. Done.
That wasn't for hunting. I didn't see anything about it.
No. What it's for is
hunting,
to keep your government at bay.
Yep.
Protect yourself against tyranny. You have to jump through so many hoops right now in order to get a firearm. It's your right. It is your right, and your rights are given to you from God. It's not given to you by your government. You consent your government to lead you. So without your consent, but they're changing all of these things. I mean, and a lot of these laws that were passed for you against your gun rights, against your Second Amendment, were legislated through the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court legislated all of these laws.
And they're not
Not
supposed to do
Congress. No, they're not supposed to.
They're
at all.
supposed to just say whether it's constitutional or not. This law is constitutional or it's not. And not even give them a way of fixing it. No, this is not constitutional. You can't use it.
Yeah. Well, exactly. You're not. Exactly. You're not. If this is in the Bill of Rights, it's done.
Yeah.
It's you have a right to wear a MAGA hat. You have a right to wear a shirt that says Jesus Christ. You have a right to sit and pray on a football field after your team is done playing. But now you're not. I mean, that guy won. He went all the way to the Supreme Court. That coach that was coaching a football team, he got fired. The school fired him for praying by himself on the side. Never asked any of the students to come with him.
Yep.
Some of them did. Some of them, they come from a faith-based house, and they went and prayed with him. And he got fired. He won, but I'm sure that's not what he wanted. I think he just wanted to continue to coach these kids, teach them morals and
But
good sportsmen, and he got fired.
Even though they win, they don't really win because it's still held against them. Now, this bakery that refused to make a wedding cake for same-sex marriage because of their religion. The Christians, they didn't believe it. Now there's a couple that are going there that want to celebrate the first day that someone became a transit. And they went to that bakery. There's only one reason why they're going to that bakery. They want to start it up again. Even though they won, they want to start it up again.
Go ahead, Jack.
Margaret says the harm was already done.
Yeah. I mean, it can be redone. Again, they haven't touched the Constitution. And the reason why they haven't touched the Constitution is because they're too stupid to figure it out. And so they just disregard. They don't even know it existed.
That's the thing, Jack.
So if we can get through the ballot box and get true constitutional leaders that believe in the finding of this country, it would take nothing. It would be this. And me and Dennis go over, numbers all the time. What do you need now? 1 or 2 in the Senate, you could swing the whole thing, and about 5 or 6 in the House of Representatives, and so it doesn't take a lot. And by the way, the senator in Pennsylvania just admitted himself into the hospital for clinical depression.
Yeah.
And that's after he wins.
Well, that's because he just won the Senate.
Yeah.
But Jack, that's the reason why they don't have to change the Constitution right now, if they even know there's one that exists. They're getting away with it.
Yeah.
They don't have to right now. But if they have somebody there and they start pushing, who knows? They might try to.
Yeah, AOC is always talking about getting rid of the Constitution. Well, there is no law of the land. There is no law of the land. It's do as we say, not as we do.
Yeah.
Because they're living good. They're living, that State of the Union that the president was talking about fit everybody that was in that room.
Not
Everybody
us,
outside the room is suffering.
saying, what is he talking about?
Right. So I'm going to skip up to the Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. All right? Now, I get it. Most 99.9% of the people that are in this country, and I'm sure 100% of the people listening to the show, doesn't have some kind of law enforcement kicking their door in and rummaging through their stuff. But I can tell you, and I can show you, you are definitely, every minute of every second of every day, you are having illegal searches conducted on you right here. Your cell phone.
They know exactly where
Your
you're
cell
what you're
phone,
saying.
these computers, you're sitting there and you're talking to somebody about a topic, let's say barbecues. And you like barbecues and I like smokers, and then you just say, well, what's this? Forever, you were going to have advertisements of barbecues and smokers because they are involved in your life. They're almost involved in your life so much that they are literally taking over your thought process. Yeah. Because after you're done with that conversation, you moved on, he keeps coming back up. And you keep looking. And then you look at this. Well, what about Choco? Which was, and now all of a sudden, you're in this big quandary when you already have a barbecue. You were just like, yeah, I like steak. Yeah, I like steak too. Well, I like mine smoked, but I like mine grilled. They are doing such illegal search and seizures. And that's what we know because it's in our hand. Who knows what's looking at your doctor reports when you go in there? Every single thing is now kept on these clouds. Who's making the cloud? Communist China is making the materials to innovate these products that are coming across, these computers, these cell phones. So where's all your information going? How does it go from point A to point B? Where is it? So
that's another thing. Where is it? Like you said, where is it?
So, I mean, those are just 3 quick amendments out of the 10 of your Bill of Rights
that they're attacking.
That not only it's gone.
Yeah.
You don't have a right to bear arms. Some states, California, Illinois, Oregon, Washington, New York, they're taking the state. You're done.
And it's funny, they're taking these rights. Do you know how they're taking these rights? Now they're going after these rights by just climate change. You're not allowed to have a gas stove in your house. How are they going to find out if you have a gas stove or not? Are they going to be banging in your doors, make sure you have an electric
Well, they're
stove?
going to do the same thing that they're doing to these oil companies. If you're a bank and you're willing to loan any fossil fuel money, well, now those banks are part of the federal government. There's a very small number of banks that are private banks anymore. Yeah. They all run through the Fed. And they're saying, well, you know what? You're not allowed to do. If you're going to give a loan to a company that's going to mine any of those earthworks or minerals, we're not going to. You're not allowed to. You're not allowed. And since when is this country? Who are they to say you're not allowed? So that brings me to my next thing. All right, because it's going to be a short show because Mike gets tired. It's almost time for his nap. Dennis, he can go on and on and on and then go to work tomorrow. He has no problems. He's a young guy. So we're talking like this. Now I'm going to ask you folks. What are you getting for your taxes? All right? We're paying taxes. We're paying a lot of taxes.
Now the bill's getting paid.
We're paying taxes. We're paying interest rates. We're paying inflation. Where's all of this going? So, okay, your taxes are going to the federal government and the state and local, whatever you're paying for. Your interest rates are going to the banks, which the government owns. So they're raising interest rates. Yeah, there's some people that are making money on it, the boards and stuff like that, but, goes back into the federal bank. Inflation. Where's that money going? Why is my eggs $10 for a carton of eggs now, when it used to be 99 cents? Where is this money? Where is this money going?
Food's out.
Where is this money going? So you're paying your taxes. So let's see what the government's giving us back on paying our taxes. Which, by the way, everybody, if you're wondering, yes, I still feel like drawing all over this table. So you pay your taxes. Fentanyl is pouring into this country, killing our folks. Human trafficking is pouring in, and the government is now partners.
Yeah.
They're partners with the human traffickers. There is no sovereign border on the southern border. There is no security in the sky anymore.
Yeah.
How many times have they just recently closed down? They closed down all flights in the United States because of a glitch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something
for 5 hours.
For 5 hours, planes weren't allowed to fly because they couldn't see where the planes were and couldn't guarantee that they wouldn't collide with each other.
They had to close the airlines in Alaska. They had to close the airlines up by the Great Lakes. So what are we getting? Do we have any manufacturing in this country?
No, you lied on that.
Do we have a secure border? Now the border on the north border is also starting to fall apart. Do we have a tie? Is there now? I mean, human trafficking is illegal. Again, you talk about the slave problem. Well, guess what? The United States is in the slave trade again, because that's what human trafficking is. You are trafficking humans to work in industries that they don't want to work. Sex trade, drug trades, smuggling trades, anything, whatever it is. It's endless. All kinds of dark, hidden. So we are in the human trafficking and slave trade again. We have no security in the sky. We have no security in the... What is the government doing? We literally have a train that crashed in Ohio. The government...
Where's the EPA?
They spill shit all over the place. And the government goes there and go, anybody got a match?
It's all right, folks.
They set this thing ablaze. They tell everybody, you got to get out of here. This is going to kill you. Then they say, I can come back. So far, train crashes. They set the fire. Plumes of smoke are going through. Fish are dying, chickens are dying, animals at the zoo are dying. People are complaining about sore throats and headaches, dizziness. They can't stay 5 seconds outside and they're not feeling well. Buttigieg was not there. Secretary of Transportation, Secretary of Department of Environmental hasn't said anything. But you know what they are worried about? Just like Jesse Waters said the other night. They're worried about your plastic straw in your drink.
Yeah.
That's going to end the world. The disaster in Ohio is nothing.
Yes, everything's
That's fine. There's nothing to see here, folks. Keep it going. We're good. 60 miles an hour this train was supposed to be going. I know a guy that retired from the railroad, and he said it is impossible. Impossible. Not, I don't know. Could be possible. But he says it's impossible for a train going 60 miles an hour to have every one of the cars derail. Because when it does, if it's the first cars that derail, well, it stops the other one. Boop, it stops. So now it stops. If it's the middle one, boop, boop, now they stop. The end one, so when those cars fall, it stops.
Right.
Those certain ones fall, and
Every
the other
single
ones
one of
don't.
them were off the
Every
track.
one of them.
Yeah.
Some people are saying, now I'm not a conspiracy theorist and I can't say anything. I mean, the news is not saying anything. But you know what? Not too, right around the same time, you had a balloon flying around up there. 13 days ago, maybe something dropped off of that balloon.
Could even be computers. We know they're hacking into our computers.
That same company that owns that railroad tried to outlaw brakes. No brakes needed on trains. What are you? That's pish posh. You need brakes.
Track will end soon.
Yeah, right? Just follow the tracks around. They'll take you where you gotta go. So, listen. Your rights are gone. They're taking your rights away. the education's gone. They're teaching they're teaching these kids that the United States is terrible.
Yeah.
You're paying your taxes. You're paying for this government. You're paying for everybody that was at the State of the Union. What is your return on your money? What's your return? Do you like your schools? Do you like higher education? Do you like the security of the border? Do you like the military? I mean, our military is the greatest military in the world. But this guy refuses to make. Do you like the world policy? Do you like what's going on in Ukraine? Do you like what's going on in China? Do you like what's going on
Afghanistan.
Do you like what's going on in in public health? Did we enjoy COVID? I mean, that was epic. That was an epic feeling. You know, you have the greatest military in the world, probably in world history. Maybe ancient Rome, maybe like in their time, close to what we could do. And this bastard in the office couldn't get out of Afghanistan or stay in Afghanistan. He couldn't take care of Afghanistan to save those 13 people.
2,500.
13 service members got killed because.
He wanted,
And what was his answer? Nah, there's nothing to see. Hey, look, keep going. Nothing to see here. Again, nothing to see here, folks. These 4 balloons or 5 balloons. What are you kidding me? Listen, we have people running this country. Blinken. You know who Blinken is?
Lincoln.
Blinken. His name is Blinken. He's the Secretary of State. He tried to be the Assistant Secretary of State under Obama. And a guy like John McCain was like, that guy sucks. He's a buffoon. So when he got turned down to being the Assistant Secretary of State, you know what his job was after that?
What?
He's the guy that ran the office at Penn University.
Where Biden?
Yep. Where he ran that office. That was his office. He's the one that cultivated all of that money from China to go to that university. What they say it was $50 million?
Yeah.
After he put his top secret paperwork in there, Blinken said, "Come on in here, give us $50 million. I'm going to look this way while I count the money. Shit's over there.
Here's the keys."
Yeah. And his payoff was now he's a Secretary of State. So he's the one that's going to go over to China and say, "You, what are you doing?" No, he's not going to do that. He's going to be like, "Get another $50 million." Kind of ran through that one fast, didn't I?
Yeah.
You know, this is what's running. People, please start getting involved in your government. And me and Dennis sit here every Thursday. We work every day on this stuff. Mike works on it. Jack works on it. My sister Margaret works on it. We got people working on this now, and we take a lot of time for it. And all we're asking you to do is read a 36-page document. That's the founding of this country. That is the law of the land. And understand it. And start figuring out, are you getting your return on your investment of the people running your government? Think of it that way. If your doctor, if your mechanic worked on your car, the way these government employees are running this country, would you ever go back to that mechanic? You know, I mean, start understanding what your return is, and start. They're telling these people in Ohio, go back. It's good. Air quality's perfect. I heard that one other time.
Yeah.
September 11th, 2001.
Yeah.
Everywhere you walked in New York City, they had air monitors on top of the crosswalks measuring the air. And every day, the Secretary of Environmental Control was on TV saying the air quality down there is fine. Well, I got an opportunity to see that report. It was this big, and on the top page, the air quality that was down in Ground Zero was 550% higher than what was good for people to breathe in. And I'm telling you, if that air quality in Ohio is so good, why is everybody that's working for the government and doing this cleanup in hazmat?
Yeah.
They all have respirators on. filters on, high grade stuff to do their day. And after they called everybody back, 10 minutes, train went by. That company was up and running.
Yep, no
And you
problem
want
here.
to, and you want to know what the citizens said? They asked us, a regular local in Ohio, what's going on? And they're like, listen, the company's a juggernaut. There's DEC can find them and they'll just pay it. And they're not going to find them because these people that are in Washington, D.C. go into these environment things, go into these companies that are doing it. Who do you think is giving these politicians all of this money? It's companies like this. Yeah, we need you. Here's your payoff. We wink and a nod. We're going to go do our thing.
Just stay out of my business.
They said they have a video of this train crash because it was on a train, and the government refuses to release it.
Yes, I heard
So
that.
what? That goes back to the other thing. The balloon's flying over there at the same time this thing goes off the rails. What's going on?
What are they hiding? Look, people, the government, these people that are trying to take over, they're very smart. First thing they got rid of is the Bible and prayer in schools. Next thing they got rid of is history, our history. They're aiming for that. The next thing is the Constitution. If you don't know where the Constitution came from, if you don't know about these great people, it's not easy to get rid of.
Mm-hmm. So listen.
And they're not teaching it.
I have 2 members of my family I got to get to start watching this. I don't think my brother watches it.
Tommy?
Yeah, I don't think he. I know my sister. Not my sister, my
No,
other sister. She doesn't. I got to get them to start watching the show, whether they agree with what we're saying or not. Again, we don't mind. But you know what? Listen to your brother, me, and my friend Dennis, and this old guy, and whatever you disagree with. First off, you can call me 100 times a day if you want, or you can go right on the phone. Everybody's there. My sister goes on there all the time, and say, no, Jack, you're wrong, and here's where you're wrong. Or if you don't understand it, and you don't know what we're saying, you can even say something like, well, I don't believe that's right because this is the way I feel. And we could say, well, yeah, that's a good feeling and we agree with you on that. Or, well, it's okay for you to feel that way, but here's why you shouldn't.
Facts.
This maybe look into this a little bit. I'm going to end on this because I see it's Mike's nap time. I went through three articles of the Bill of Rights. The other ones, they're a little bit different, for those times. But your main ones, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom to bear and hold arms, and your freedom of search and seizure, they're gone. They're not there right now. Because if they don't stop you from having your arms, they stop you from having your ammunition or your ability to clean a weapon or to repair a weapon, whatever it is. They're doing illegal searches in everything that you belong to, So, and these are supposed to be inalienable rights to your, life, liberty, and the freedom of happiness. This is why the founders put them here. So that's number one. Number two, start thinking about if you're happy with the return in your investment of the people that are running this government. And that's what I got. You got anything else?
Well, most of those gun owners, legal gun owners, are registered. Who do you think the government's going to be the first people that are knocking on the door?
Yeah, they're not going to go to the big
They know exactly
They're not
who
going to go
has
to the
these
big guy.
guns.
You know what? But then pretty soon everybody's going to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
You got anything, Jack? No? Anybody on there? No? All right. Well, we're going to have Mike do the prayer. I hear it's about 15 minutes long.
Yeah, it's only this one. Well, I'm going to read a prayer from the Bible, and I'm going to read the gospel because who knows how much longer we have that we're going to be allowed to do this. But it's very important to say prayers out of the Bible every once in a while because it's God's word, and it's a strong prayer to Him when you use His words and speak it to Him. So we got the first prayer here. It's from 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 1 through 5. I exhort, therefore, that first of all, supplications, prayers, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men, for kings, and for all that are in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and honesty. For this is good and acceptable in the sight of God our Savior. We will have all men to be saved, who will have all men to be saved, and to come unto the knowledge of the truth. For there is one God and one mediator between God and men, the man Christ Jesus, who gave himself a ransom for all to be testified in due time. In the gospel,
Hold on a minute, I got a question. Now, when you do the gospel, am I supposed to still be like I'm praying?
no, the gospel is just it's what will save you.
Okay,
And
so
it's right
then
here.
I can sit here and look at you and concentrate on what you're saying instead of being in my own head. Right. Sorry, folks, that's my ignorance.
All right, 1 Corinthians chapter 15, 1 through 4. This is the gospel. Moreover, brethren, I declare unto you the gospel, which I preach unto you. This is Paul. Also ye have received, and wherein ye stand, by which also ye are saved, if ye keep in memory what I preached unto you, unless ye have believed in vain. For I delivered unto you first of all that which I also received, how that Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures, and that he was buried, and that he rose again the third day according to the Scriptures. Amen.
Amen.
To that.
Oh, sure.
Thank God he's done that.
All right, so that's the show, folks. Mike, thank you for filling in.
Thank
Jack, thank you for operating everything back there by yourself.
you. Yeah, he's all by himself today.
Dennis, enjoy your trip with your mom. That's a great time. I'm glad you're down there with your mom, and I'm sure you're very happy to be there with her. So, as Dennis always says, because it's profound and it's true, knowledge is power, folks. We'll see you next week at the tavern.